Hey guys, it's Alan here today. I wanted to make a quick video for you guys on mortar mixers, just the overall use, a few tips, just to see what kind of reaction we'll get to this type of video. If you would like to see something more in depth, say like the actual use of the mixer, I'll go through a video on us actually cranking the mixer up, the steps we go through to make the mortar. Today I'm just going to go through some of the tips we have. If you would like to see a troubleshooting video, I'd be glad to put one of those up. Starting, we've got a single bag multi-equip Essex mixer. It's got the Honda motor on it, which I absolutely love. I have very little issues with these. I've had two mixers that my dad and my granddaddy left to me, and they were probably 25 years old. I took good care of them. On a commercial job, whenever it doesn't belong to the guys using it, it's not going to last that long, but we kept them for a very, very long time. So to start, I call this a single bag mixer, but you can fit two bags in that bowl. The reason I call it a single bag is because whenever you're mixing mortar, you need air content within your mortar. You want those paddles, which are these right here. You want those paddles, you don't want them completely submerged in mortar. When you put two bags in this tub, the two bags comes all the way up to here, and these paddles are completely submerged in mortar. With one bag, your mortar comes up to here, and these paddles are able to come out of the mortar and go back into the mortar and constantly mixing air into the mortar. You want to let it mix for a little while. After all the mortar, sand, and cement have mixed together, you want to let it keep running a little bit, just to add a little bit of air content, and that makes the best mortar that I've used. Just a couple other quick components. You've got your emergency stop here. As you can see, this one is disconnected. They did this in the field. This is one of the reasons why I pulled it out. This is your on and off switch. This here, this is your flywheel where you crank the mortar mixer at. You have to have a cover on this. Whenever you wrap what they're doing is wrapping the rope around this, pulling it and cranking it. Whenever that thing's running, this thing is spinning very, very, very fast. If you bump into it, your clothes get hung, you get very easily get hurt. This is the hood. You have to open the hood in order to crank the mixer up. Once you have the mixer cranked, you have got to drop this hood back down. Like I said before, you're supposed to have a cover on this, and that's one hazard. You've got your muffler here. It gets extremely hot. One of the biggest hazards is you've got a bull gear in here, and if somebody's wearing loose clothing or something gets hung up in there, fingers get caught, it could potentially turn into a hazardous situation. Another thing we have is whenever this mixer is running, you have got to keep your grate closed. This is the grate that goes over the mixer. This little nub right here, that's whenever you slam your mortar bag down, that busts the bag and splits it open so you can put the mortar in. But you always keep that grate closed. It is extremely, extremely dangerous to reach your hands in there. When those paddles are turning around inside of the mixer, this one right here is completely worn out. And you see how close, there's only maybe about 1/8 of an inch between that paddle and the bowl. Those are two solid pieces of metal. If your hand or anything were to get stuck in there, it would pull you into that mixer and it could possibly kill you. I've seen guys when they clean these things out, you know, whenever they're beating on the sides of the mixer, beating on the paddles at the end of the day, they'll just come over here and they'll use a lever. As you can see here, that right there is out of gear. Your belts are loose, so they'll just, that's in gear, it tightens your belts up. They'll just kick it out of gear. Whenever you kick it out of gear, the paddles stop turning, but they'll leave the motor running. If someone were to come by and bump that paddle or bump that lever, or somehow it would kick back into gear, these paddles would suck you in there and cut your arm off, cut your finger off. I know a company one time, they had a hole in the back of their mixer and it was leaking mortar out, and the mud man decided he was going to plug the hole with his finger, cut the tip of his finger off. So now he's got 9 3/4 fingers. This one right here is wore out. It's kind of covered up with mortar. This is one of your grease fittings. You need to keep these greased. You're supposed to have bearings inside of here. That's what goes around the shaft to keep it spinning. So you got a grease fitting there. You got another grease fitting right there, and there's another one right inside of here on this little housing for the gear under the bull gear. If you guys, like I said, I'm learning about these videos and what people want to see. I'm just going to put everything that I know about my trade on here. If there's something that you'd like to see more of or would like to see sooner rather than later, please comment below and let me know. Thank you guys. Have a good day.